The man accused of the alleged rape and murder of teenager Anene Booysen will know his fate today. Judge Patricia Goliath is expected to hand down judgment at the Swellendam Circuit Court. Leigh-Anne Jansen is at the court this morning. Leigh-Anne, this trial has lasted all of 3 weeks, a fairly short trial by any standards.
That's true, and it's taken only a few months since February to now for the trial of Johannes Kana to be finalized. And it's unique for such a high-profile case to be finalized in such a short space of time. The other high-profile cases we've seen in this country have taken up to 3 years to be finalized. So this is a landmark ruling today in this case, considering the short amount of time it's taken for the trial to be finalized.
Leigh-Anne, what has the defense put forward in its closing arguments?
The defense has put forward that the state has no forensic evidence placing Johannes Kana at the crime scene on the night Anene Booysen was raped and murdered. He says all the state has is a confession Johannes Kana made from a police station in Bredasdorp shortly after his arrest earlier this year. It's still yet to be seen whether or not Judge Patricia Goliath will admit that confession into evidence once she delivers her judgment today.
And Kana's always maintained he didn't kill Anene, yet he admits to kicking and raping her. Is it easy to reconcile his demeanour with what Kana's actually accused of?
Well, Kana has said that he had beaten her and raped her, but had not murdered her. And that is what the defense is also using in its argument in his defense, that Johannes Kana may have raped her and he may be found guilty of rape, but he cannot be found guilty of murder. And I think that is what Johannes Kana is also what's making light of the situation for him, because he has shown very little remorse during the proceedings here in the Swellendam Circuit Court. So it's in all likelihood that he's feeling that he will be let off on the murder charge and only be sentenced and convicted of rape.
Has the prosecution begun its closing arguments yet, Leigh-Anne?
Yes, the prosecution had concluded its closing arguments yesterday. The state and defense presented their closing argument to the court yesterday. The state is hinging very heavily on 2 state witnesses who had seen Johannes Kana leave a pub in Bredasdorp with Anene Booysen. They're basing most of their case on the fact that he was last seen with her. But lots of confusion had also been caused with the police investigation, and it again shone a negative light on the effectiveness of the police work during this case. Police had left the crime scene unattended after they had taken Anene Booysen to hospital. No forensic evidence places Johannes Kana on the scene. There were blood trails at the scene that hadn't been linked to anyone during this trial, not Johannes Kana, not Jonathan Davids, who was acquitted on these charges earlier this year, nor a third man who was taken in for questioning and later released. So we'll have to see exactly what Judge Patricia Goliath makes of all of this and the police's work during this investigation.
Leigh-Anne, are any family members or friends of Anene Booysen in court today?
I haven't seen any family or friends of Anene Booysen yet. Judgment is only expected to be handed down at 2:15 this afternoon. So in all likelihood, they'll only be expected to arrive at court from around 1.
Leigh-Anne Jansen, thanks very much for that update from outside the Swellendam Circuit Court. Well, sentencing arguments have continued in the Boeramach trial at the North Gauteng High Court this morning.
News that moves. ENCA.com.